Uni fees are slashed for maths and science, but doubled for arts. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a talk about university. Now, I'd like to go through an article and look at some footage from Parliament today because changes have gotten through Parliament with regards to university fees, and you're going to see more and more criticism about some fees for degrees going up. Now, if you look behind me over there, you can see two of my degrees there. I'm an architect. To become an architect, I need to do 2 degrees. One, a bachelor degree, and then a postgraduate, post-bachelor or master's. Now it's been inflated to a master's, but that's another story. I've tutored at university for years, even gave the odd lecture here and there. I won the head of school prize in my final year. I won a national student prize for the advancement of architecture. So, I'm somewhat familiar with the university system. I was working there for several years. While I was working in practice. My alumni is QT. I'm very embarrassed with what happened with those lads in the computer labs at QT. It really has put a stain on my respect for that institution that's my alumni. So you could say I have a fair amount of experience here with university. Now, one thing I noticed just in my own course over the years is the decline in quality of the education and what you're getting. You're getting less contact time with support staff, with tutors like me who would come in, professionals who would come in. And what they do is they'd find creative ways to reduce the contact time you have with students. And they'd also, they never paid us. They paid us dodgily as well, too. If I could probably do an employment thing against them. But anyway, it doesn't matter. As a professional, you were mainly there because you enjoyed it. You loved giving back to the next generation that was coming up. And it was a great way to find good staff so you could poach them for your business. Now, you'll see a lot of criticisms about these cuts. And Jackie Lambie gives quite an emotional speech, which we'll look at later. But here's another suggestion. Before we look at this, here's something I want you to think about. The universities have a monopoly on degrees. Those pieces of paper that I got there, I had to go through the universities to get them. It was only years later that I realized I could have actually become an architect through the professional body. There's other methods to do it. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more work. They want you to get the degrees, but there are other pathways. Now, what if, rather than the government being involved in the education and the university system, they stepped away? And the responsibility of certification for different qualifications, I'd say a big chunk of them fell towards the professional bodies, like your CPAs, like your accountants. And then you could have other organizations providing similar training for people, private businesses. What do you think? Could be an opportunity there. Could be some challenges there. Jordan Peterson was looking at setting something up to get a broader access and give more people opportunities to learn. You can get world-class quality lectures from all over the world now on your phone, anywhere. You don't need to go to a university now. One thing I found quite frustrating, or one thing that started me in YouTube, was tutorials. I would make tutorials because when I was tutoring people, I'd have 10 people ask the same question. So I thought, you know what, I'll just make a video at home and then I'll put it up there and you can all watch it. That's actually how I first got into YouTube a long time ago. So it's a different world. But the universities have this stranglehold, and they're very old-fashioned. They're very, very human resource heavy, and they waste a lot of money on people that aren't actually adding value to the student experience or aren't actually adding any research. And here, the degrees that are, doubling in fees, arts degrees. From my experience, my university, they got rid of the entire arts faculty because it really wasn't worth having. That just makes you, appreciate that. So, is it a big issue that we're getting arts degrees twice as expensive? I don't think so. Maybe that's a good thing to steer people away from useless degrees. How many people do you know that have gotten degrees and can't find work in their field? It's even going to be difficult for someone with a maths degree or a science degree. I met people who'd graduated from science and couldn't find any research work here in Australia. Let's start by having a look at this speech by Jackie Lambie.
I refuse to be the vote that tells poor kids out there, no matter how gifted, no matter how determined you are, dream a little cheaper, because you're never going to make it, because you can't afford it. I won't take that off them. I won't be a part of that. I went to TAFE. I studied the same place as my mum. My dad, he drove trucks. When I was a teenager, I lived in public housing. I dropped out of year 11 and I joined the army. And don't get me wrong, I'm proud of that. I'll always be proud of that. I'm proud of where my experiences in my community got me. But I know what opportunity means to many in those rural and regional areas of Tasmania.
Maybe they shouldn't be going to university and doing a useless degree. Maybe increasing the fees on some of these degrees that don't really lead to employment is probably a good thing for those kids. But she may not know that. She hasn't been to uni.
And I know what it means to sustain it or to suffocate it. I know how hard it can be for people who live there to make their way into a place like this. I can live with the way I'm voting. I'll hold my head up high, and if I lose votes for it, I'll lose them with pride. If I lose my seat, I'll lose it with pride. I didn't get into politics to dim the futures of the people or our kids. I'm here to help. And if the price of staying in politics is betraying the people I'm here for, I'll live with grace.
I think she'll win a lot of support for this speech. You know, she's a bit rough, but I think that's why people like her.
My future isn't worth more than theirs. My goals, my hopes and dreams aren't more important than our kids. I'm here for them. We're all supposed to be here for them. We're supposed to be here so they have a decent future, and we lay that out in front of them. This will become law, and I'll go back to them and say, hey guys, I tried. I really tried. I did what I could, but I fell short. I'll say to them, if I had a degree, maybe I may have won the day. Maybe that would have made me a little bit smarter on my feet. Who knows?
Yeah, Jackie, nah, it probably wouldn't. I think I've got friends that had put too much weight on a university degree, really, for what it is. Particularly if you've gone through and you see how easy it is for some people just to slide all the way through. You know, they've got group work for a reason, guys.
And I'll say that. If you're sick of people who've never known the kind of life that I've seen or they've seen, deciding on what's on the menu for people like you, beat them at their own game. If the tools it takes to win are only available to the well-off, they'll keep winning and we'll keep losing. And the divide between the richer and poor will keep getting greater. That's where this country is going.
But see, the thing is, I mean, she makes a good emotional point there, but you're probably going to be better off doing a TAFE course and starting your own business, even though that's a nightmare in this country, than doing a useless arts degree. And that's maybe what people don't realise. There's a lot of useless rubbish taught at university. A lot of wasted money and energy and time. So let's have a look. University fees are set to double for arts degrees after the Senate rejected an emotional speech from Tasmanian Senator Jackie Lambie that begs MPs not to tell poor kids dream a little cheaper because you're never going to make it. The Morrison government argues the changes will incentivise students to make more job-relevant choices that lead to more job-ready graduates. Yes, that's it. That's the point. Under the changes, which passed the Senate today, the government will also provide an extra 39,000 university places by 2023 to meet the expected increase in demand because of the pandemic. So more and more people are jumping for degrees. And this is where I'd say, well, how about those university places that the government is providing? Maybe look at some alternative providers. Try and chip away at the monopolies of the established universities. From next year, the cost of some degrees, including maths and science, will be slashed, but other degrees, including arts degrees, will double. Law degrees will increase from 11,355 per year to 14.5. In other words, a law graduate would enter the job market with a debt of $68,000. Well, there's a lot of lawyers around, guys. There's a lot of lawyers that struggle to find work. I've met them. It's a tough industry. It's a flooded industry. Everyone wants to be a lawyer. We don't need any more lawyers in this country. We don't need any more people doing law degrees and then becoming politicians. Students with parents who can pay up front will secure a 10% discount under amendments negotiated with One Nation's Pauline Hanson. Or, see, they're framing this. The author, I don't like how she's framing this. It doesn't necessarily need to be the parents, Samantha, who pay up front. I know people who paid degrees up front, who paid their HECS or received a contribution to pay it early. It could just very well be the student who gets a 10% discount. But Tasmanian Senator Jackie Lambie had urged the Senate to reject the changes in a tearful speech where she admitted university was never seen as an option when she was growing up in Tasmania. And she reached the Senate. She reached the Senate. Okay? University is not for everyone. We have degree inflation. I've got 2 bachelors. Now it's a bachelor and a master's. You know what the difference is? The master's costs more. We have everyone thinking they need to get a university degree to get a job. You don't. You really don't. There's an opportunity cost associated with that. I screwed around, wasted time. You know, and architecture is a long degree. I'm happy we could work through it. In our course, that's all gone now. They've gotten rid of all of that. So it wasn't like I chose not to go to uni. Well, you could go now. There's nothing stopping you. I don't remember ever making that choice growing up like I did. Where I did, you didn't see it as an option, she said. Uni was for other people. Other people who don't live in public housing, with dads who don't drive trucks. I don't care what the opposition offers, or what those opposite offer. They can offer me $1 billion for Tasmania, but I won't sell out our kids in Tasmania. I will never do that, nor will I ever sell out any other Australian kid when it comes to their education. Okay, but, Jackie, it may be better for someone to not do an arts degree that they're going to piss away money and time, or not do a law degree that they're going to piss away years and money if they can't afford it, when they could do someone else, when they could do a maths degree, when they could do a science degree, something that'll get you a job, when they could do engineering. I'm not going to be the one who gets here and tells them to bugger off because I'm right. I've got mine. I refuse to be the vote that tells poor kids out there, or those sitting on that fine line, no matter how gifted, no matter how determined you are, you might as well dream a little cheaper because you're never going to make it because you can't afford it. Senator Lambie said the reforms represented the wrong road for Australia's future. Our HECS system is actually pretty convenient. The help system, whatever it's called, co-contribution you make. You just sit it there, and it'll slowly gain interest at the CPI rate. It's cheaper than my house mortgage. Someone was asking me yesterday if I'd pay that off rather than the mortgage. I was looking at it. I went and looked on the thing, and I said, this money's so cheap for what I'm paying for it now. I'll throw everything at the mortgage. I know I'm breaking the snowball debt destruction rules, but it's just so cheap. Greens education spokeswoman Maria Farqui accused One Nation and Centre Alliance of doing a grubby deal to support the passage of the laws. But what about all the people? You know what it is. How many of the people doing Greens, you think, have done an arts degree? How many Greens voters do you think have done an arts degree? I bet you, or probably an architecture degree too, but I bet you not many of them have got engineering degrees. Not many of them have actual science degrees. And I'm not talking about environmental science where all you do is write reports. The Coalition's hatred of public education is on full display today. Job-ready graduates will do horrendous damage to our universities. What? I don't understand. The legislation will now return to the House of Representatives, but will become law after the Senate confirms its support for the reform package. Here you go. This is what they're calling for. Make uni and TAFE free. Abolish student debt. Invest in research. Save uni jobs. Why? Why? I've got student debt. No, I don't want you to make it free. I mean, if you're gonna be stupid enough and do it, fantastic. I'll take it, but it means you'll just tax it out of me another way. And it'll be less efficient if you tax it out of me that way. And uni is very cheap. So, how much students can expect to pay? Band 1. So teaching, clinical psychology, English, maths, nursing, languages, agriculture, $3,700 per year. That's fantastic. Teaching! Labour would love that. It's half their bloody politicians, isn't it? Band 2, allied health. Other health, architecture, IT, creative arts, engineering, environmental studies, science, $7,700 per year. Band 3, medical, dental, and veterinarian science, $11,300 per year. Law and economics, management and commerce, society and culture, humanities, communication, and behavioral science, $14,500 per year. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people doing these degrees that probably don't end up using them. How many baristas do you know that would have a law degree or a communications degree? So, let's have a look here. I mean, you've got Malcolm Roberts' take on it. There's no such thing as free education. It would be paid for by hard-working taxpayers. And he's right. It just comes out of one other pot. And if they just print the money out of thin air, it comes out of our inflation. So what do you think, everyone? What do you think? Are you for these university changes? I mean, teaching, psychology, English, maths, nursing, those are all good degrees. Agriculture, fantastic. You know, allied health, other health, architecture and IT, all a lot cheaper. And this isn't swaying me because when I went through it was even cheaper than this. Engineering, it's good that it's cheaper. Medical, dental, and vet, I mean, they charge a fortune anyway. And, well, probably it's good. If you're considering doing one of these degrees, maybe look at doing something probably a little bit more useful. Because honestly, I'd steer my kids to maybe doing a trade or taking a year off. Or we'll probably look at how you can do a trade while you're still doing high school. It's the advantage of doing distance ed. So what do you think, guys? What are your thoughts and opinions on it? Have you gone to university? Did you think it was worth it? Are you opposed to these fee changes? And is Jackie just overreacting? And he's surprised that the greenies, well, they're all a bunch of art students, aren't they? Paper mache. I know that's mean. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.